discussion around the group projects of THE2602. Those of you that are able to join, welcome. Others that might listen to this at a later stage, I hope that this will assist in clarifying some of the expectations around the group project. So THE2602, as you've gathered by now, is a module in ecclesiology. So that's where we study doctrines and practices and ideas and beliefs around the church and faith communities. And you would have noted by now that the assessment practices in this module is quite a bit different from what you would have experienced in many other modules on a number of levels, both in terms of the participation activities and the way that is graded, but also regarding the group activity that form a very core component of this module. Group work might be new to some of you, but as you start reading through the module, you would hopefully have seen that the group work component does form a very natural fit within the module. So the whole module is built around the idea that we study churches in their concrete expressions, and we study the church as a body or a phenomenon that expresses itself in very diverse ways, based on cultural and social contexts, but also based on its theological tradition. And that's particularly that we build up to in Unit 5 as you study the ecumenical documents around the church, and that forms the basis of the group work. So we've divided you into groups of 3 people, and the idea is that between the 3 of you, you would represent distinctly different, as far as possible, distinctly different church traditions that we put together. And we want to, through the group work, get you to be in conversation with each other and in conversation with the ecumenical document that have been prescribed around the church in Unit 5, the World Council of Churches consensus document concerning the church. Now, you will see that consensus document, that the consensus document is both a document that indicates much that there is agreement on within the ecumenical world concerning the church, and then at various particular points, it also indicates that there are things that churches do not yet agree on. And those matters of disagreement might be exactly the places where you would want to focus in on when you start working within your groups, in order to say, but where do our different traditions, how do they relate to these points of disagreement? Although you might find that between the different traditions that you represent, or within your own personal views, there are things that the ecumenical church considers to be a point of consensus, so a point on which there is broad agreement, that some of you feel, but we struggle to agree with what we are reading in this kind of formal ecumenical document. One reason being, those of you that are Catholic, the World Council of Churches do not represent the Catholic churches. So Catholic students might take note that there are certain points that they have a different understanding of to the church from what the World Council of Churches represents. That's largely composed of Protestant and Orthodox churches. So the idea is that we gather you together in groups that represent different traditions, that we hope that by now you would have studied Unit 1 to 4 in detail, so that you understand questions around the church as it expresses itself in its as an empirical phenomenon. So Unit 3, the empirical and the historical church, a social phenomena, that you understand something of the posture which we approach ecumenicity in the module. Unit 4, the idea around receptive ecumenism, and that you would have formed a deeper understanding of just what the church is, and that built throughout from the introduction, Unit 2, and really throughout the module. You might also want to start reading into Unit 6 as you do the group project, if you have time to start digging into some of those readings and see how that might contribute to your group project. The group project then, you would have read that in assignment 2. So the group project reads that you will be placed in a group of students who come from different church backgrounds, and that you are required to reflect in community about the most contentious issues concerning the church, those things which the ecumenical traditions have not been able to reach consensus on. You do that in dialogue with the World Council of Churches to document the church towards a common vision, And you must identify some of these elements, aspects of the church that you might have differences on, and explain your theological traditions, explain the theological concerns underpinning these, the biblical or historical arguments, doctrinal arguments that inform the different positions that your different traditions would take. So it would require an immense amount of conversation amongst each other. It might require that you do some deeper research collectively about your respective traditions in order to form a coherent essay. Now, the key here is that I want to see in the end that this is a collective essay. So essays that simply take three perspectives, each of you go and write a piece on your own church, and you just paste the three sections one after the other, maybe with an introduction or conclusion, generally do not form a good essay. Good essays will be formed when the three of you actually work together, actually seek to understand each other's churches. The idea is not that you only understand your own church tradition, but really that you also engage with the traditions of the others that are in the group. Good essays will be if all three of you understand the traditions that are being presented within this group, and that you collectively write an essay that reflects on these differences, points of convergence, the reasons why different theological positions are taken in regarding the church. Should you find that one of the three members are completely absent, please notify me. If you are not going to participate in the group work, you cannot do assignment 2. So please notify me so that I can just, in the end, I will have to remove people from the groups and they would not be able to receive a grade from this. You can also indicate in your reflection, assignment 3, you will be asked to reflect on your own participation and on the participation of other members within the group. So I will take that into account once we get to the grading. But generally, the idea is that you will get a group grade if everyone contributed. If you are in a group where 2 of the 3 people do not participate at all, kindly inform me very urgently, because then I will have to place you in a different group where and ask that you work with some of the others. So that's in very brief what we propose to do with the group works. I hope that it will be a really good experience where you grow and kind of deepen your understanding of how we listen to each other and how we collectively form theological positions.